You are now listening to Talk Your Jits podcast.
Welcome back to Talk Your Jits podcast. This podcast is, as the name implies, all about jiu-jitsu. I'm your host, Lamar Smith, and today's guest is a third degree black belt who teaches trains and teaches at Sustainable Jiu-Jitsu. Ladies and gentlemen, located in Perth, Western Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, James Woodfield Jones.
Thank you for having me, mate.
Man, sorry about that butcher of the intro.
That's all right, mate. No worries.
Man, like I said, finally.
We've had a few chops and changes, mate, to get here, mate. It's been hectic. And trying to get the time right as well, isn't it? What's the difference between us and the time again, mate? About 12 to 16 hours?
Yeah, because right now it's 9:30 a.m.
Yes. So it's 9:30 p.m. here.
Okay, so it is 12 hours. Because I was like, we said 12, and then we thought it was 13, and it was just like all over the place, but we got it. We finally got it.
Pleasure, mate. Pleasure.
Man,
thanks for having me.
Pleasure is all mine, man. But yeah, without further ado, let's you want to give yourself a more formal introduction, by all means, and let's hear about your jiu-jitsu journey.
Well, martial arts journey started at about 4.5. I'm from the UK originally, so about 4.5. Been obsessed with martial arts. Used to go in the bedroom, punch and kick, not aggressively, but just practicing, and absolutely loved it. Watched all the martial arts movie from about 4.5 to about 8. So my dad got me into it. He's into martial arts and have a military background in the family, and he's done some training with the special forces and stuff. So it was a perfect fit, but I just took to it very quickly and begged mum and dad to join me up at 4.5. And my brother wasn't too fussed, so I was like trying to talk him into it. And then they signed me up, and I cried for a week. So then I didn't want to go because I got scared. But I went for the week, and then I just fell in love with it, mate. And now I'm 46, headed to 47, and I do it full-time living. Martial arts for 41 years, jiu-jitsu for 27, coming up 28 years. So been doing all a lot for a long time. I've been boxing and kickboxing as long as I've been doing jiu-jitsu, probably the striking even longer, because I started with taekwondo and Shotokan before I went into boxing and kickboxing. But yeah, a lot of years of martial arts, and I love all of it, and I always make sure everything keep on top of all stand-up, clinch and ground. But jiu-jitsu, I think, is the higher percentage. You're going to go hands-on sooner or later. It doesn't always have to be on the ground. As soon as you touch, it's going to be jiu-jitsu. So it's going to be control. But definitely you got to keep the hands, and you got to keep all your weapons sharp. But yeah, jiu-jitsu, beautiful, very gentle, can be very violent. It depends on which one you want to do with it.
So it's your choice, right?
Correct. Yeah, that's right, mate. And that's what I really preach in the studio over here. It's two-sided: the art and the self-protection. Martial arts in general, but jiu-jitsu we're talking about for sure. Art, self-protection. If you want to use it as a sport as well, that's cool too. But I just make sure always got to have the art for make you a better person in life, more confident, competent, resilient, adaptive. It's endless. And then the self-protection is very, very important, because if you're dealing with someone who knows what they're doing, high-level jiu-jitsu, high-level control, I always say it's like tiger and human. You let that tiger off the leash, it grabs you, that's it, you're done.
It's over.
That's the goal. But yeah, I love it, mate. Sure. Love it.
Yeah, man, love it too. So I think you're like the third Joe Moore black belt I've talked to. And let me get this right. Because it was you, it was Michael Jin.
Louis been on.
Louis Cessetis was on there. My instructor, Zachary Holston, and there was one more. Donnie Franks was another Joe Moore black belt. So I gotta ask you the same question, man. How long did it take you to learn how to speak Joe?
It's really funny because I remember the first time I actually picked him up from the airport in my car, and Joe and I had laughed about this, a few years down the track, and I had a Jeep, and I picked him up, and it was pouring with rain, so it was like summer rain, so it was really, really heavy, and I picked him up at the airport, and he jumps in the car, and we're talking back and forth, driving home in the night, and the rain's heavy on the roof, so it's like really hard to hear anyway. And then I was like, I get it because Joe's beautiful, beautiful human. So you get through body language anyway, but I was like struggling to understand. And then later the years down the track, I said to Joe, well, I remember picking you up and it was raining. And I said, I remember going, yeah, like I could really, it was hard to understand. And then he goes to me, he goes, me too, my friend. So here's me thinking I'm speaking clear English. And he's, So it was quite funny, but you know what? Joe's such a beautiful man, and he gets a message across so well that it's all body language with Joe as much as, and then obviously his accent's not that thick once you've been around it for a while, but sometimes some people might think you're hard to understand. I don't think so. Maybe you think the same with me. It's just a twang, isn't it? And once you get used to it, but yeah, that was funny. It made me laugh.
That's like one thing I always like. I laugh about every time, like, someone's like, oh, so you were part of Joe, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yep. And I can't wait to ask you this question. Because everyone's like, it's like you said, like you hear him talk for the first time, his thick accent. And then, after a while, you understand him clearly. Of course, because he, like you said, he explains the language of jiu-jitsu so well. So everything just kind of just like, okay, I got you.
Yeah, 100%. And I think everything for me, mate, is energy. Everything's energy. Been so close to people, and you're in touch with yourself and other people. So you can, I think you can read people quite well. Vibration is real. And Joe's got a beautiful vibration, mate. Obviously, very, very skilled. He crush you. But also very, very beautiful guy. I've got a lot of love for Joe. I think he's a lovely man. And he's sharing jiu-jitsu. And you know what? Even before meeting Joe, I was 100% dedicated to sharing jiu-jitsu. And now after meeting him, 200%. Do it for everyone. Do it for him, because he's certainly giving back, mate, with the jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, man. And just to show you how far he reached, man, you're all the way in Australia right now.
Yeah, we know what I was watching VHSs of Joe and Marco. Near on 30 years ago, mate, like Panther Productions, I think they were called. And so we're learning, and it was epic for me to get in touch and then stand beside Joe eventually all the years down the track. And and I'll tell you a story about watching those videos, because Marco and Joe were very close. And so I never trained with Marco until 2019 when we were overseeing Joe. And so we're watching this video of the VHS of Marco and Pedro Hizo. But they were very old videos, and Marco was making, chokes on Pedro Hizo, and he goes, Marco going to make a choke, and he'd be doing the choke or another arm lock, and poor old Pedro was about dying in there. And so we're sitting in the garage practicing moves and learning off the VHSs and stuff. And I think, mate, that guy's frightening, mate. Like, the power on the guy doing the chokes, Marco. So 2019, we're over, and Joe goes, today we're going to go train with Marco. And I was like, epic. He's someone I've looked up to as well and followed for many, many years, as well as Joe. And so we go to Marco's gym, and then 30 years later, he's got me in the same headlock that he had Pedro Hizo. Oh my God. Mate, that guy's frightening, mate. So strong and powerful. But I've been watching Joe for a long time, and Marco as well. So it's an honor to stand beside Joe, represent Team Herrera, Sustainable Jiu-Jitsu, and their Team Herrera Australia. Beautiful.
Man, that's awesome, man. I haven't had the pleasure of training with Marco, but talking to guys in the family and the videos I was sent of how Marco is, like, he has like 2 speeds, like 0 or all in. It's like so just watching him just like demonstrate stuff, and he's just full throttle. just full throttle with a slam. I'm like, oh God. No.
Yeah, do you know what? He's another one. Lovely man. Like definitely lovely man. Good soul. Just powerful man. Like like gorilla. Big hands, big feet. It was an honor to train with him, mate. And I said to Joe when I got in the car, I said he is frightening. And Joe looked at me, smiled, said, "It's a good experience, huh?" Go, mate. Very good. Very good.
For sure, man. So how long have you had your school?
I've had a school for near on 20 years, 2 decades.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So a long time, 15, 20 years full time. I've been coaching for over 2 decades, but I was coaching out of garages and parks. And as I said, been obsessed with it. And then I've done lots of jobs to get here. I was a postman for 10 years. It was get up early in the morning, finish early in the morning, and then finish late in the morning. And then I can go coach. And I did lots of things to build up the studio until it was time to, go full time. And so I've done lots of things to get here, but this is what I'm meant to do. So probably about full time, about 15 years, I'd say, with my own studios and whatnot. I've had a few places, but I don't do mass classes. I do classes, but I do a lot of small groups, privates. And I've always done it like that for attention, for safety. Everyone mixes together. I've got a lot of people on the mats, but I do a lot of coaching during the day, back to back.
Nice. Okay. Because you said you did a lot of different martial arts and stuff. So what made jiu-jitsu your focal point?
I've played a lot live. I used to have, back in Perth here, a long time ago, we were the first people to have a cage. Myself and my partner were training, and we had a cage back then because it was more about using against the wall or the fence, because everyone did security and nightclubs and all that sort of stuff. So it was, and we're all into, I was always self-protection first for me, not paranoia, but just this is what martial arts is. You want to walk around, if someone, has a go at you, you want to know how to defend yourself. And then obviously at the start, it's very, everything's power and everything's hardcore and whatnot. And then you start to become more sensible and more, professional and sustainable and efficient. So, these lessons over the years, from going hard and stupid to becoming more efficient, more effective. But jiu-jitsu, it always ends up, unless you want to make it a bare knuckle boxing match, well, obviously gloves, and which is cool too. And I spent a lot of time doing that. You can do 10 rounds, 15 rounds, but what's the smartest option is to smother the person, slow the person down and control the person. And also I would say that not always, and then obviously everything's in context, but I think your highest percentage is to go hands-on with people. And someone might go, oh yeah, but what if there's 20 people? I say, if there's 20 people, you don't want to be boxing him either. You want
right? You don't want to do anything.
But like we said before, you don't have to go to the ground. I can put you against the wall. Jiu-jitsu, as soon as we touch, it's all connection. And one of my biggest things there, mate, is really, really important to me. There's a massive part of our jiu-jitsu program here is dealing with a weapon. Because, from a self-protection point of view, and this is where jiu-jitsu becomes more the favorable, because it's all hands-on and control, is, if you're in an altercation, of course, we avoid it at all costs. But let's say worst case, you got to do something about it. No one's going to help you. It's you on your own. I would already expect the person to have some sort of a weapon. Knife, for sure. England, knife is probably guaranteed. Here, you've got firearms more so where you are. I mean, anyone could have a firearm, but more so as the stateside, So you don't know. So you're going hands-on with people. If you're fighting someone, he steps back and pulls something on you. So the highest percentage would be to get hands on him. And that's not just why I love jiu-jitsu, but from the self-protection point of view, boom, you're gonna shut the person down. You don't want to be standing out midst fight with him. But again, context, time, place, circumstance. And as far as jiu-jitsu for self-exploration, rolling, playing, I love the mind and I love the emotions, coaching a lot and doing a lot. You see very much the winning key is controlling yourself, controlling your mind and your emotions. Otherwise, you won't be controlling anything. your body
Right.
won't follow. So jiu-jitsu is very much, when you're rolling, it's very feel. Stand-up is beautiful too, but stand-up's a little bit more violent, and you don't have the felt sense and the touch. You're then reliant on judgment, and you got to be careful you don't get sucked into big movements and feints because you're judging, if that makes sense. Jiu-jitsu is more control. Now I can feel you and we can move around. So that's what led me more so for jiu-jitsu, for the self-exploration of contact. Beautiful, so much learning, and also for you're going to have to go hands-on. We'll do it well. I'm not scooching my bum across the ground though. It's going to be guerrilla. There's nothing wrong with that either, but not on the concrete.
I know, right? Yeah, we're not butt scooting on the concrete, no.
And there's a time, place for everything. I love it all, mate. I love the self-expression, but yeah, that's my what kind of leads me more to jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is just so, it's forever giving. It's so beautiful, mate. Like you really are. It's a great look within oneself. You're going to grow so much, and it's the gift that keeps on giving. You know, but it does become where I'm at now, and have been for a long time, but even more so now. A physical, 3 tiers: physical, mental, and emotional. And control all of them, and you'll be controlling what you want. But don't control all of them, and there'll be a problem.
For sure, man. And that was explained, beautifully, because one of the guys I train with, he does security, and this is like a few months ago, I was working with him. Never done anything like this in my life. But he like, yeah, bro, you good, you. I think I was still a purple belt at this time. So he's like, you know how to handle yourself if anything happens. But I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't want nothing to happen. I don't even want to be in a situation that it can possibly happen. Yeah. So he's like, nah, man, just come out and try it. I'm like, all right, whatever. So the couple nights were cool, but the one night that something happened, I was like, oh shit, I got to do something, because he was getting irate with another Patreon there, and I was calling someone on the walkie, but the only person that was close by was handling somebody else. So I come down and I'm like trying to calm the guy down, and then instincts just kicked in. Jiu-jitsu just kicked in, because it got hectic, and it could have been a physical altercation. But no, I was able to subdue the guy, and he, was able to calm the situation down. And, eventually he got escorted out. But I'm just thinking to myself, like, oh, God, that was so stressful. Oh. It was a quick second, but it seemed like 20 minutes went by. Yeah.
And that's the thing, and not to be paranoid, but it's super important to understand, like, violence is violence, mate. Anything could happen in it. And it's very volatile, and it's super dangerous. So it stab you in the back, especially in a situation like that at clubs and stuff. And door works, with respect to it, because there's some very good people, a lot of meatheads. There's also very good professional people, and self-protection in general, whether it's security or just within yourself. And I am a big promoter of this. Is everyone should understand how to be violent. Everyone should be powerful. But in context, because then people misunderstand it and go, oh, it's not about violence. But I go, well, as a man, for you and I, women also, but men a bit more machismo, if everything fails, it's like, mate, I'll just kick your ass. And you go, no, you won't. And you weren't. Nice to meet you. So it's going to be a better person, right? And it's not arrogant, but then you actually become a better person from having that. So even in situations when you understand what you're doing, a lot of things don't go very far anyway, because the person, unless he's completely off his face on drugs, which is possible, or an absolute idiot, he's going to understand that there's a vibration coming off it, and he gets it. So you can avoid many things by actually understanding, but it's certainly something you couldn't fake. So if you don't know it, he'll know it as well, even if he doesn't know it, if that makes sense.
No, for sure.
Because that's energy, isn't it? But yeah, it's so important to have skills. People are walking around, and we're very, very lucky that we live in a world, for the most part, that everything's people adhere to the rules. But if someone does something that's wants to be nasty, you need to be able to handle yourself, but not in a paranoid way. I think they know anyway. People know victims. You can spot a victim a mile away, and it's not even, you don't have to have tattoos. You can be 6'4" and still get picked on. It's the vibration coming off.
For sure. And that's, the things I explained to my wife too. Like, when it comes to like training, the more I train, the less, I guess you're like, the less violent you feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like that. So it's like, if I'm ever in a situation where, something gets irate, I don't know, it just flows off of me, and because when, like, I had an issue, I was, working in retail, had a irate customer, and he was getting belligerent, and I'm sitting there the whole time like, dude, what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing here? Like, my manager is like, he's screaming, arguing with the guy. I'm just standing there like, why, man? Why? I'm like, just leave.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's threatening both of us. I'm like, okay, you don't want to do that. But I'm like, just leave. But yeah, so it definitely. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, buddy.
No, go ahead.
I think a lot of people don't know who they are. And, so he comes in and he escalates it, and he flies off the handle. Let's just say, as an example, an individual flies off the handle because when it's not really necessary, but his fight or flight kicks in, and, it's just something, people are so overstressed and they can't handle things very well. They're not very good at adapting. They haven't got any resilience. They don't push themselves. So they don't feel their emotions all the time to control them. And it's not a judgment on people. It is just that there is a lot of people who are not, constantly pushing that way for themselves. So then they explode over it next to nothing. And then you've got someone like yourself who trains, and you're under pressure. You've had people lay on you and choke you, and you know how to deal with resilience. And that's not just on the mats, that actually bleeds off into your workplace and into your whole life. So then threats are not really threats anymore. And you know what I mean? Where a threat can be, this guy yelled at me, he looked at me in the shops, and then I said something to him and he yelled at me, and oh my God, and then it's skyrocketed. But it's all blown out of proportion because people are not getting in contact with themselves. They're anxious about everything. They're sad. They don't push themselves. They eat rubbish. They hang around with negativity, and then boom, it comes out in everything in life. So, it comes down to the individual. Not negating, someone might just have a bad day, and then you're it, and it blows up on you. But then you've got that nice nature to come back. Listen, mate, it's cool. You can massage him. That makes sense. Where your boss, maybe he's yelling at him, he's firing it up, and you just step in and go, listen, mate, it's cool, no problems. And because you've got the ability to do that, and that's what I think. When you say with your wife and you walk around, you feel less because you're comfortable with it. You notice that most people who are not comfortable with fighting, or you see someone fight in the street, and you'll go, mate, why were you so arrogant and so cocky? Because when it came down to it, you were nowhere. You didn't know what you were doing. But that's because he doesn't know what he's doing. So if you knew what you were doing, you wouldn't even get involved. You'd be like, cool, man, no problems. And then other lions around you would go, cool, man, no problems. He's kicking off because he doesn't know what he's doing. So, it's such a big portion. That's where I love the growth of martial arts, because, you're not invincible. You're just competent and confident. And and it does make you a better person, mate. I think it's a necessity for everybody. That's my mission. I've got seminars coming up in the year, and I want to come show functional things from stand to clinch to ground and all encompassing, but also want to teach people how to empower themselves. And you do that through that. I have 3 taglines. I don't know whether you've seen it on my page, but self-belief, self-control, and self-protection. Self-protection will give you all of those. And then you can go forth and be better man, better woman, better child, be more confident and competent in everything you do. And that's the answer to it, training. But training reality and training smart and intelligent, but training is going to give you everything. Imagine if you didn't have any skills, mate, how would you feel?
I don't know. I had a conversation with guess about that too. Like, you look at you sit back and you look at your life, from like the time you started training in jiu-jitsu to now and everything that came along with it. Like, how would you feel if you didn't have that, you didn't have jiu-jitsu? And I'm like, I don't know, because I can't imagine not doing this.
Yeah. And it's funny, isn't it? Because you become like a preacher for it. People are like, oh, you're talking about jiu-jitsu again, la, la, la. And you go,
Yes.
yeah. But they don't know how rewarding it is. It's so rewarding because it's like we said before, the direct link between your physical, mental, and emotional, you're going to link them up. And you're going to see at the start, you're going to see weakness in that. But that's why you train with good people who are going to show it to you, but look after you at the same time and challenge you. And so you see that and you go, oh, I don't like that. Made me feel super uncomfortable. I say to clients, obviously in context, how much anxiety you feel there, how much aggression did you feel there, or man, that was like level 8. And then we do some cues and we go, cool, approach it like this. And then how'd you feel, mate? Like level 2. You go, so that's what you're dealing with. So we know when people are looking for moves, they're like, man, I can't get that arm lock. You go, your arm lock's not that bad, but your control's not the best. And then we could polish your arm lock, but you're a bit of a head case and you can't control your emotions because you get too angry, you get too frustrated, you get scared, and all of those things are fine. But that's what you're really working on. And that's where the gold is, where people just think, oh, it's just kicking ass. And you go, well, it is. And kicking ass is easy. It's just make sure you get all the other stuff that goes with it, which allows you to do that. If you don't have all that together, you can have all the moves in the world and you still won't be able to pull them off anyway because you can't control yourself. And that's where the growth is. That's why you feel great.
For sure. And that's the kind of the kind of message I try to relate to everyone as we train. Like, you have to basically slow down.
Yeah.
Like, you have to slow down. You have to assess the situation and really, really get a grasp on what's going on around you. Because they'll look at me, they'll look at my other trainer, other brown belt training partner, Brian, or they look at our coach, and they're like, you guys are like moving a certain type of way, and we sitting here everybody just sucking air, and we're just like, cool. Even though I'm rolling as hard as you, but I'm cool because everything is under control.
Yeah.
I was like, once you get that down pat, that's when you can really start to understand jiu-jitsu just a little bit more.
Yeah. Would you say like at white belt, and we've all been there, and white belt, you don't really have the moves because obviously you're just learning it, and you don't know the moves, you're just kind of learning some things to do, but your decision making is not good. You're not resilient. You're not used to people pressure and all that stuff. And then blue belt gets better, purple, brown. But as you get better, it's better through the mind. Would you agree that when you roll with someone, you feel when their head goes and then their body goes?
Oh yeah.
It's not just a move, because if he or she is very connected to their mind and very controlled in their mind and body, it could be harder to get them. So you got to kind of tap on the head, or they'll do it for you. Maybe they move too quick and panic, and you go, "You give this to me, man." So, but it's here. And I think in the early days, I don't think people know that. So you go slow down, but first you got to get their head to slow down. And one big thing for me is structure, survive, defend, deploy. That's my thing for sustainable jiu-jitsu. The goal is always safe. That's number one first. Efficient and effective. It has to tick off all those 3 boxes. I think the misconception, people are like, oh, soft, and you go, not at all. It's intelligent. So you want to be like sniper. You got civilians and you got special forces. I want to be special forces. I want to be civilian. And my approach to what we're doing, it needs to be very smart and intelligent. And I think people don't get that. They think more moves where you're underneath surviving and they're racing around side control, north, south, knee right, and you're like chilling. And you go, hey, what are you doing? You're doing 6 moves that you don't really need to do, but they don't understand that because they don't get the concept at that time. So, and as they learn, they start to go, you know what? I don't really need to do more. It's kind of less. It's just doing the things really well and keeping it together. And it's beautiful.
Yeah. We had a moment like that Tuesday, white belt. He's a white belt, but I think he's been in the army. He's wrestled a whole lot. I think he does. I think he does kickboxing too, but that I'm not too sure of. But we rolled for the first time, and I'm like, okay, let's just get a feel for how he moves. He moves like a wrestler. So I was like, okay, we're gonna have to just weather this storm out.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
He's grabbing limbs, he's moving, he's twisting and turning. I think he probably went like hard for like the first 5 or 6 minutes, and just all explosive speed, all just the whole time. So he had me in I think it was side control, and I'm like, you tired, bro? I'm like, you breathing kind of hard. He's like, no, I'm not tired. And that's when I knew, got him.
Yeah, exactly.
I swept him. He tried to throw up a triangle. I'm like, nah. Smash pass. He ended up in crucifix and ended it there. So
Right.
it's a good feeling when you really notice it. That like you said, that instant defeat is like, oh yeah.
Yeah. And it's evolution, isn't it? And the beautiful thing is you want to be so good at it. And again, pardon the analogy, but I say to clients, you want to be so good at it that you're lucky you mess with the Lamar, mate. He's going to look after you. He's just going to maul you. He could hurt you, but he's actually going to control you. And that's a real skill set, to not feed into you fighting back to that gentleman, ride it. And then when he slows, then you come get him, and then you go do your work. But you got to ride that. And I'm sure there's times you go, man, this guy's powerful, quick.
Yeah.
And whatever else he brings, and his energy, and energy can change other people as well. You got to stay within you. When people get aggressive, then you fire back to them. You got to always stay within you. Now, on the mats and off the mats are the same, mate. There's a world out there that wants it to be like that. You want to stay with who you are, and there's a world on the mats, and that's your opponent who wants you to be what they're doing, and you go, no, I'm going to stay with me.
No. Yeah, like I'm going to lead this dance.
Yes, 100%. But you know what? Like you said before, weathering the storm is massive, and that's so underrated now for some people, because they want to go for gold. Mate, I am going to diffuse everything. You won't be able to do anything to me, and then you're going to tire. And if you haven't got the certain game that can sustain it, and you're going to be smart, like two anacondas, one person too quick, and the other anaconda just is going to drown you eventually. And that's how jiu-jitsu is best done. I think with the sport, you put 5 minutes to it. What are you going to do in 5 minutes other than force things? And now I don't have a problem with it, but you're taking on that realm, understanding that you're pretty much going to have to force something, which you actually shouldn't be forcing it if you wanted to get it properly. Yeah. And efficient, effective. If you were fighting and there was no one going to come and save you, and it's just me and you, let's go. What are you going to do? You're not going to take any risks. You're going to be very intelligent, or you would hope you would be intelligent. That's how I think of everything. Again, not paranoid, just context. Worst case scenario, that's how I always practice. I need to be the last person standing, because another thing people take for granted is the tap. Taps for the street, that's beautiful. What if you get someone strangle you and you can't tap? You're in big trouble, mate. You hope they're nice. So, everything efficient. Beautiful.
For sure. And I think that just came when we roll, I'm like, I don't want to don't set the clock. Like, let's just roll. Because if you set a clock, okay, I got 5 minutes to work. Yeah, that first 3 minutes is struggling for position. Yeah, especially if you're standing. Yep. So it's like, okay, and then it's like that 2 minutes on the mat go down so fast, and it's like that 10 seconds. You're finally at that point, and then boom, the match is over. Yeah, so
mate. And it forces you to think in a different manner as well, which actually, how easy did you get gassed when you go into those situations? And the reason you get gassed, there's lots of things, you got your nerves and stuff, but you actually then subconsciously go, you know what, I've got to push this if I need my points or whatnot. So you got to go into that realm understanding that that's what it is. You want to be super fit, and you're going to have to be super powerful and whatnot. And look, I think all of those are important, but I wouldn't build my game around it. I'd build my game around intelligence. And I look at the human body now. You've got 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head. And I know exactly what you can do with them and what range. Some are going to be stronger. Some are going to be more flexible, younger, and whatnot. And another thing, mate, is being smart as you get older. You should be more efficient as you get older, not just because you're old, just because you're more mature and you understand more. That's a big thing, mate. I've got some monsters in the gym, and I've got some young. Everybody's good in the gym, in the studio. I've got one of my heaviest clients, 6'6" and 100 and probably about 135, 140. He's a big guy. And
Wow.
you know, a lot of all my black belts, you get they get on top. It's not going to be quick. I'll get it. I just got to be super smart. It's not going to be 5 minutes. So,
right.
And I'm sure your coach gets on top of you, mate. You're not getting out quickly, mate.
It's over. It's over. No matter what, man. I'm like, I can't let this guy get on top. Of course, I don't want to let him, but it's going to happen. It's like, yep, here we go.
Exactly. Super cool. It's super cool. And that, how humbling is that, though? It's beautiful. I mean, have you rolled with Joe?
Not yet. I want to. Everyone tells me I'm stupid, but I want to. It's like, why? Why do you want to do that? I'm like, why not?
Mate,
like, why not?
Magnificent, mate. I've had the honor and pleasure of rolling with many good people, and they're all phenomenal in their own right. There's no one's like Joe though.
Yeah,
Joe's like a snowplow. And it's just, and you know what's fascinating, and I've had the pleasure of rolling with him a lot. When he comes over to Australia, he stays with us at home, and we're in and out of the garage, and obviously in the studio as well. And he is phenomenal, mate. You know, when you talk about efficient and effective, beautiful. And I tell you who else is superb? Roy Harris. I've had the honor and pleasure of having him here in Australia and him train with him. He is amazing, and another awesome human being.
Gotcha.
Very cool.
Yeah, I've been uki for Joe a few times, but never necessarily roll. But we were working a smash pass, and I think it was it double unders? It might have been double unders, and we were working it, and he goes for it, boom. And, you know, Joe's going to sink his weight down. So I'm under him like, okay, he's going over whatever. And then someone asked him a question. And he just sat there. I'm under him being smashed. When he's answering questions, I'm like, okay, don't freak out. Don't freak out. It felt like forever, but I'm like, okay, don't freak out. Don't freak out. Don't freak out. I don't hear nothing at this point. I'm just focused on not dying because I'm like, I don't want to be like, hey, Joe, move. But I'm like, you know what? Just stay here. Just stay here. Just stay here.
Yeah. Do you know people wouldn't understand it unless they felt him, and you go, mate, he's gonna break my back.
Yeah. But it's so crazy. But he's like, it's weird because he applies his pressure so gently. It's not like a force. It's not like a boom. It's just like a slow, very slow and methodical, like he always is. But it's just like, is he? Oh yeah, there it is. There it is. There it is. It scales so fast, but he moves so slow with it. It's mind-boggling to me.
Oh no, you're right, mate. He's magnificent, mate. And obviously there's a reason he's a 8th degree coral belt and not far away from red belt, you know, in the coming few years. Yeah, he's amazing. And like you said, that's real skill when you can do it slow and you can do it. And people, oh yeah, that's slow. You know, someone might watch on YouTube. I reckon I could probably move him. And you go, no, you won't.
No,
it's okay watching it, but you don't feel it. So you got to feel him, and he's in full control of it. And you know, and we're talking about energy. Is Joe very good energy? You know, he could crush the life out of you, but he's good man. So you look after you.
For sure, man. And yeah, like everyone who comes in the school, like, you know, comes in and they witness that first smash pass and they're going off fast. And they're like, no. Let me show you why you go slow. And just to see the life just leaves their body when she finally get decided, just like, like there it is.
The mats. You know, I am obsessed with that, mate. That's where my studio is called Sustainable Jitsu. I've been obsessed with it for forever. Sustainability is so important. I love slow, methodical. You know, it's timing over power and precision over speed. It's not how quick you get there. You might say, you know, Joe's very quick at getting his threes in, but you go, he's not slow. It's not quick though. It's well timed.
Well timed.
You'll come off his twos and you'll be on the threes, and before you know it, you're back on his one again, and he's controlling you. So you think, man, he doesn't really move that fast. You go, well, you're doing all the moving, and he's well timing it, which I think is so good, so clever. And that's how jiu-jitsu is done. And, you know, one of the principles, and all the principles are important, but one that stands out, obviously, whichever way they want to go,
you let them go.
But you know what? You watch a lot of people, they don't. They fight them, and they go like this. And then you got to be bigger than them, stronger than them, faster than them, younger than them. Never going to happen. So you got to get smarter than them and stick to your principles.
It's so funny, like when you watch Joe do seminars, or you know, he's repping stuff, and you know, he's explaining something, and he gets so happy, he starts to growling and chuckling, and it's like, oh, and it's like, yeah.
You know what? It's true. It's honest, mate. It's pure honesty from Joe. You know, he's, like I said, good man, and he's got the purpose, and he's around there sharing it. And mate, I always say, blessed to be with Joe. Honored. I mean, how many people get the chance to work with a 8th degree coral belt, and not just that, but like, you know, good human that's coming from all the right places to share.
For sure.
Very important. And keep it alive. I keep it alive. You keep it alive. We keep it alive. Super important.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. Guys too. Yeah, one of the most humblest guys in the world I've met, and you know, the most violent person I've ever met.
We haven't met Marco. You haven't met Marco.
I haven't met Marco yet, but as of right now, you know, Joe being the most violent person I've met.
No, I'm only joking. I reckon they're a phenomenal team, mate. A couple of gorillas, but beautiful men.
Yeah, I've seen videos of them rolling. It's like, dude, you guys are trying to kill each other, but you love each other.
That's the most manly way of showing affection, isn't it?
Exactly. That's why we're so close to people. Like, dude, I literally had your life in my hands.
Well, again, but that's the growth. That's the growth, because this is what I say to people. You know how skilled you are. I mean, for instance, I started my morning this morning at 6 a.m. with 2 of my black belts. I come in, they train for an hour, and I sit back and watch them. And this is all my clients, but I use these 2 guys as an example. These guys have been with me for 14 years, both of them, 14, 15 years. And I watch them and I go, hey, and not only are they super skilled, they're friends, they're all my clients, and their business is business, money's money. That's how the world works, but they're everybody's family and friends, and you know, that's super important. But I watch them and I think, mate, so skilled, like super pressure, super talented, efficient, effective, controlled, in control of their emotions, good people. And I've watched them, like others. One of my longest standing clients, 25 years. I've watched those people grow into big, powerful human beings, men, women, children. I've got 2 9-year-olds, bro. I've got a lot of kids that I coach, and but these 2 9-year-olds were training the other day, and they did 25 minutes, and there were throws and chokes and escapes and near misses of like catching each other, and both of them super controlled. And Dad's watching it, and they finished. Not one got angry, not got emotional. They challenged. They got like a submission for a submission, and the rest of the time they just survived each other. They got up and shake hands. And they walked out, and the dad goes to me, dude, he goes, I'm so impressed. I go, dude, they're 9.
They're 9.
And they're the first one to come up to you, mate. If your daughter walked into the gym, hi, how you going? Nice to meet you. And they're lovely, and they'll look after her, but they kick ass, mate, if they have to. It's so cool, dude. Super cool.
So cool. I done seen some amazing kids, man. Amazing kids. You know, just going to tournaments and watching these kids, 6, 7, 8 years old, and they already have that itch for it, and it's like, oh man, I can't wait to see you in about 10 years.
Oh, and they're learning lessons of controlling themselves, aren't they? And then when they get to school and a test comes, or someone says, "I don't like your hair," or mate, who cares? Mate, all of that stuff's irrelevant because I'm super inoculated to emotions, to adaptability, to resilience. If you don't have that, you go to school and someone says, James, you got a big nose or you're bald. Yeah, I know that. Whatever or it's gonna hurt you. If you've got comfort within yourself that you find on the mats, you go, well, no worries, mate. Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
No worries. This is good. Then that's a big picture as well for those kids at that at that stage.
Yeah, and that was like one of the big reasons why I got my daughter into training or as soon as I possibly could, because being bullied in school is not fun, and it just seemed like it's so much more worse than when we're growing up going to school. It's like now it's just like, ooh, this is terrible. Like, this is awful.
So I think that comes as well, though, Lamar, from people not happy with themselves. I said, mate, if you don't like yourself, you're not going to like anyone else.
Right.
Whether someone's got a problem with color or hair or what they wear, it doesn't bother me, mate, because I already know who I am and I'm happy with myself. So I don't see people in color or clothes or whatever. I just see energy, souls, beautiful people, human beings, whatever it is. But you got to first like yourself. So bullying, and we we're just talking about this the other day with our niece, and just the girls being mean to and stuff like that. And you go, remember the old saying? I don't know how old you are, Lamar. How old are you, buddy?
35.
35. You're a young man. So I'm 46, but I think we both grew up with sticks and stones.
Sticks and stones. Yep.
But of course it hurts, when people say, especially at a younger age when you don't really know yourself. But the goal is to teach people to be comfortable with themselves and own every bit of themselves. Your color, your nose, your bald, your whatever it is, that's you, beautiful. And then other people won't affect you then, but that's where it comes from the other people, because I don't bully anyone because I'm happy with myself. I'll have an opinion if you have a go at me, and I can have a go at back, but then it's mutual. But I think that's where that comes from, because a lot of people are not happy with themselves. So it's going to spew down to you. It's usually professional jealousy, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
But sure. You're right. And get her to know who she is, and she's a powerful self. And I think that's beautiful. Then she can go out and be confident and competent in everything she does, because she knows worst case. Mate, you call me stupid, mate. I've had someone strangling me last night. I escaped it. I dealt with dad laying on me for 5 minutes. All this stuff, mate. You saying you don't like my braids or something, mate? What are you, 5? I don't care, mate.
Right.
Super important.
Cause like she it was one incident. She's one of the girls at schools was like picking on her, and like she didn't want to tell me about it, but my wife told me about it. So we're talking. I'm like, what happened? She's like, oh, blah blah blah. I said this and this and that. Da, da, da. I said, listen, you don't have to be everyone's friend. Respect everybody, but you don't have to be everyone's friend. If they keep talking about you, they're not your friend. Walk away. But if it keeps going and it gets to a point where they're trying to harm you, you know what to do. And she's like, well, they said no fighting in school. No. You're not fighting. You're protecting yourself.
Correct. Yeah.
It's a big difference. You're not starting nothing. Like you understand that we don't tolerate bullying. I teach this at home and I teach this in class. We don't tolerate bullying. You can have fun and poke jokes at friends, but if you get to the point where you're constantly doing it and they're not enjoying it, that's bullying. So it's like she's starting to understand that now. So she's like, yeah, the girl said this, and that, and it didn't bother me no more. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, beautiful, mate, beautiful. And we're not projecting violence, saying no, everything's physical. But if someone's physical to you, and this is what we were just saying before about being very good at it, then you can shut them down. I say all the time, and you've probably seen some videos that I've done with people. I say, do you want to be smacking people? Because if you smack them and they fall over and crack their head, which is highly likely if you're going to get hit by someone who knows what they're doing, it could be bad. So you avoid it at all costs. But if you do have to, worst case scenario, you've got it, but you go, it's better to just handle them and look after them, and then say, no more, mate. And you go, well, that's frightening. You give him a Marco headlock or something and scare the life out of him.
That's it. It's like no, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, but no, you're right, bro. And it's perfectly said with your daughter. And why should anybody, what you say, mate, words is whatever, irrelevant. But if it starts to become physical, that's a big no, mate. Because I've seen people in life, just later on down the life, that has a huge factor in it. It has a big part to play in people's anxiety and all sorts of things that they have. But you've got to stand up for yourself. Nobody has the right to push someone around. I don't want to hurt anyone. That's not my style anyway. I play with people and they get all that out in the gym and we push each other and challenge each other. I just want to help people. But if you hurt me, I will defend myself. So, and that's super important. It's a very important message.
Yeah, definitely got to have that switch, man, because even in training, like you're, rolling with people and they get so spastic and they start grabbing fingers and I'm like, hey, let's not do that.
This is where you need to be. There's the intelligence. You avoid and diffuse and defend, because you go, accidents happen. People actually get hurt. Probably more with people who are just uncoordinated and just silly. And I always say this: the self-defense or self-protection. People will go nuts, mate. They won't care about you. We're professionals in the gym. If I feel your arm under my back, I'll move because I don't want to hurt your arm. I'm aware. Old mate out there, he's not aware. So you got to be aware for everybody. This is number one.
Yeah. There's been so many times where we're working something and they roll a certain way and I can just instantly feel like, okay, where is their body in conjunction to mine? What's this? Oh, they're under me the wrong way. And I'll try to brace myself awkwardly. I'd rather injure myself than, hurt my training partner. So,
and and it's good that you're aware of it, because that actually takes skill as well, because then you're obviously competent in your mind and body together, where you're embodied and you can feel them. Where people are all up here, they miss the cues downstairs. You go, dude, be careful, you're going to hurt him. Oh, I didn't even feel it. You go, mate, you got to slow down, quieten your mind and feel, and then you'll feel where the person is. But that's what you have to expect for people who, when they get heightened levels of emotions, they don't make good decisions. So you got to make the decision for them and control them.
Right. And control them, or just choke them out.
Correct.
All right, James. So we have a Talk Your Jits podcast question. You're very seasoned in this, but it seems to stump a lot of people. But I'm gonna shoot it at you. Your top 3 people, man. Who would you like to roll with?
Do you know what, mate? I have fulfilled 2 of those already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, Joe was one of them.
Okay.
And I've rolled with Joe a fair few times. Roy Harris, I've played, but I haven't really rolled. But he's to roll again, roll proper roll. And Marco, he just grabbed me around the next week to roll.
And they say I'm crazy.
But yeah, no, I've been very lucky to roll with lots of people. I've had the pleasure of rolling with Roy Dean. He was another one that I would have liked to roll with, and I did roll with Roy Dean. Huron Gracie, roll with the Huron Gracie.
Oh, wow.
I've played with a few people. I played with Randy Couture. He's another gorilla. So I've been very lucky, and I've made it happen. I've played with quite a few people. I played Frank Shamrock, Elvis Sinisic, quite a few people, and very good people. But the 3 to mark a 3 was Joe, Roy Harris, and Marco. But I haven't rolled with Marco. But yeah, everyone's superb, and you know what? And every single one of those people, all professionals.
Yeah.
Very, very professional. And I've sparred a lot of people, in stand-up boxing, kickboxing, a lot of pros, a lot of amateurs. But yeah, so I've fulfilled a lot of them. My thing for moving forward, more time with Joe, more time with Roy, and maybe underneath Marco.
I'm wait. I was just waiting to hear it. Like, here comes Marco. The hesitancy in your voice.
Maybe I'll start on top. Yeah,
Hopefully.
I love that way, mate. It's beautiful.
Right. For sure, man. But if you got anything else, if you got anything coming up for sustainable jiu-jitsu, I know you probably don't compete no more, but if you got anything coming up, man, the floor is all yours.
No, my goal, just if you want to follow me, Professor James Woodfield Jones on Instagram or Sustainable Jiu-Jitsu, there's 2 pages that have the same thing on them, or James Woodfield Jones on Facebook. My thing moving forward, keep doing what I'm doing with my private clients. I've got a lot of very close, all my clients, close family clients, professionals. Keep sharing, keep evolving, and keep helping them grow, and while I grow myself, and also workshops and seminars. That's a big thing for me. That's something that I want to do because I've done quite a few of them globally already, and then obviously COVID came, and then nobody could do anything. But I want to share it with people because, like I said, I've got 41 years of martial arts, mate, and I've done it for a long time. It's not something I do for just a living. This is life. I'm on the mat 7 days a week, every day, 7 days a week. Not all day on a Sunday, but I would do. But I have to have some time off. But
Yeah, I know, right?
I love it, mate. I love people. I love the people. I love to see them empowered. I'll be honest with you and say that probably ever since about 8, I haven't really felt that normal anyway. And I mean that I think everybody's ordinary and everybody's extraordinary. It just depends which one you want to be. But I've always felt very happy,
Yeah.
And martial arts, a good family and martial arts. And we moved from England to Australia. And that was my number one thing, that all I was worried about. Getting a pool was good, but doing martial arts. And I've just been obsessed with it. I feel I'm meant to do it. And I've got a message that I want to share with people, not just the functionality of stand, clinch, ground, and whatever comes with it, but help people, because I feel good. And if I feel good, then I want to share it with you and help people feel good too. Because so many people are going through life not optimum. And you go, dude, you got so much and you could achieve so much. It's not about money, and money's cool. That comes with it. That's how the world works. But just happiness. Get comfortable with who you are and don't worry about the rest of these things and all these, what people call, and try to please everyone. Just be confident and competent with yourself. And so that's my message, man. That's my mission moving forward. Seminars, it looks like I'm going to England this year. I'm going to do Sweden eventually. Poland's on the cards. I've got Jakarta coming up. Sydney I've just got back from. And I love it. And all the people that I go to see, they're all beautiful people like yourself, who are good souls and love the art and want to be better people. So that's my mission.
Man. Well said, sir. Well said.
Thank you.
Well
Thank
said.
you.
And it was very, it was a pleasure finally, getting to talk to you.
and likewise, mate, thanks for your patience. It's an honor and a pleasure to come on, and I wish you all the best for all your training. Hopefully we'll catch up one day.
One day, for sure.
Come see you, mate, for sure. And if you ever want to do it again, mate, you want to get in depth in anything, any topic you want to, mate, I'm happy to come on and we'll talk some more for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. I will definitely invite you back, man, for sure.
Mate, I'm going to take a quick picture so I can put it up. Oops, sorry, my mate. I get my big fat fingers out of the way. Oh, did I lose you?
Oh, there we go.
Have I got you?
Your camera's out now.
There we go. Sorry, buddy.
No, you got it.
Oh, my camera's out again. It's down. It's down under, mate. It keeps disappearing. Got you. No, but all seriously, mate, I appreciate the time. And thank you for the time, mate. And thanks for the patience. And I look forward to doing it again in the future with you.
Yeah.
Keep up the journey, mate, and keep being you.
Got to, man. That's the only thing I can do, man. It's the only thing I can do.
Good man.
Yeah. And that's the end of today's episode. I would, like to thank James one more time for coming on to the show, blessing us with his wisdom of jiu-jitsu. Please go and follow our Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube pages to stay up to date on all future episodes. This has been Talk Your Jits podcast. Keep rolling, keep grinding, and remember, long live jiu-jitsu. Have a great day. And we're done.